Santa Clarita. Today, as Bill was mentioning, we have a guest,
The
very special.
most interesting man in the world. And he's not here
Mangoes?
to sell beer. Okay, he's not here to sell
Because we were
beer.
talking mangoes before. But he has mangoes in
Robert
his location.
Catrini, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Good, good, good. So now that I've queued you up as the most interesting man in the world, now I have to tell everybody why you're the most interesting man in the world. Okay? So for starters, it's not that long ago that you were talking and shaking hands with some pretty big name movie stars.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'm a working actor as well as a businessman here in Valencia, but I do well. You really have to keep a humble head about yourself. But
Humble. Do you get that, Patsy? Did you get humble from
Well,
him?
you
You got
know-
humble, didn't you?
Yeah, well, for that reason, I invited him when it was career day at Rio Vista Elementary. And all the kids want to go there and have an autograph because Robert was recently in G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
yeah, I played the Israeli president in G.I. Joe. That was a very interesting day, by the way. I've never done a career day, and it was interesting because, as you know, my wife and I own Planet Yogurt here in Valencia. So when I arrived at Rio Vista, by the way, very nice people. They treated everyone so cordially, just extremely gracious staff. When they set me up and the whiteboard behind me and the gentleman explained, well, you can write, Planet Yogurt over here, and this is the way the process will go during the day. The first group of kids that came in, I explained Planet Yogurt, and then on the other board I had G.I. Joe, Retaliation, Israeli president, and under that, voiceover actor. And as soon as the kids zeroed in on that, the hands started flying up, and it was pretty much G.I. Joe Day. Well, you're in the movie, so we went through that entire Q&A, and then at the very end, when the buzzer sounded for that session to end, every hand went up and said, "Can I have an autograph?" And I had passed out flyers, and one side was Planet Yogurt and all the healthy information that we wanted to let everyone know about, and on the back was G.I. Joe. And I looked to the back of the room to the teachers, and they looked at their watches and they went, okay. And suddenly I had a queue of every kid. I'm signing T-shirts. I'm signing sneakers.
See what I mean?
I'm
The most
signing
interesting
everything.
man in the world. Even kids.
But-
Even kids are lining up to see him.
But what was interesting was, of course, I had my Planet Yogurt shirt on, but all the other career people that were there, they're kind of looking at me like, the guy with the yogurt shirt has a line for autographs. They didn't realize about the G.I. Joe in the movie and the actor part of it. And there are firemen down there, and there's L.A. County Sheriff's deputies all armed to the teeth, and they're explaining, and they're looking at, so the guy with the yogurt shirt has a line for autographs. And I was, in my mind, I'm imagining them saying, what do I have to do to get somebody to ask me for my autograph? It was very interesting, and it went on like that for the rest of the day. It was a terrific day, and I was treated so well. The staff was just so gracious. A really, really very fine day.
Now, Robert.
Yes.
Robert, I'm a storyteller, okay? So I like to also be told stories.
Yeah.
And I like my stories to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take you back,
Okay.
okay? Where were you born? Where were you raised?
I was born in what is actually still today the worst slum in the country. It's called Bedford-Stuyvesant, Bed-Stuy for short, in Brooklyn, New York. My dad died when I was 10. I was the oldest of four boys. I am the oldest of four boys. And my mom had a rough time. It was a very, very rough time. Very bad neighborhood, which I recently revisited 2 years ago. I was invited to New York to do a table read for some producers for a motion picture, and I stopped by the old neighborhood for a couple of hours. And it's pretty bad. It really is. So I was very fortunate. My mom, although my dad passed, my mom and her sisters and my grandmother, it was a group effort to raise us. And in retrospect, you don't know what's happening at the time, but as time goes on and you live your life, you look back in retrospect. And I credit the women in my life, my aunts and my mom, and the Franciscan brothers. We had St. Francis Prep for keeping me on the straight and narrow, because
It's easy,
It could've
easy
gone
to
bad.
get off track
easily,
places like that.
very easily. Yeah.
We're going to take a break, Robert. When we come back, I want to continue the story, because you don't become the most interesting man in the world just overnight. It takes a lot of things in your life to happen.
That's true.
And Patsy, did you like the way he gave credit to women?
Yes.
It's true.
Let's go and listen then the next segment. You're listening to our hometown station AM 1220 KHTS.